Former President Donald Trump has once again injected himself into the center of a heated geopolitical issue. Known for his outspoken nature and willingness to tackle controversial topics, Trump has never shied away from making his voice heard on the global stage. This time, his focus is on the treatment of Hindus in Bangladesh, a country that has seen its fair share of religious and ethnic tensions over the years. The Hindu community, which makes up a small percentage of the population, has often found itself at the receiving end of violence and discrimination. Trump issued a statement condemning the recent violence against the Hindu community in Bangladesh. He expressed his deep concern over the escalating situation and emphasized the need for immediate intervention to prevent further atrocities. He called for an end to the persecution and demanded action to protect their religious freedom. Trump's statement highlighted the importance of religious tolerance and the need for global leaders to stand up against such injustices. Trump's statement comes at a time of heightened tensions in Bangladesh. The country has been grappling with a series of violent incidents targeting the Hindu community, leading to widespread fear and uncertainty among its members. The country has witnessed a surge in attacks on Hindus. Temples have been vandalized, homes destroyed, and lives disrupted, leaving the community in a state of despair. These attacks, often stemming from religious intolerance, have left the Hindu community feeling vulnerable and marginalized. Families have been torn apart, and the sense of security that once existed has been shattered. Trump's decision to speak out on this issue has sparked a debate about his motivations. While some applaud his efforts to bring attention to the plight of the Bangladeshi Hindus, others question the timing and intent behind his statement. Some see it as a genuine expression of concern for a persecuted minority. They believe that Trump's intervention could potentially lead to increased international pressure on the Bangladeshi government to take action. Others view it as a calculated move to appeal to Hindu voters in the United States. With elections on the horizon, some analysts suggest that Trump's statement might be aimed at garnering support from this influential demographic. Regardless of his intentions, Trump's statement has shone a spotlight on a critical issue. The international community is now more aware of the challenges faced by the Hindu community in Bangladesh, and there is hope that this increased attention will lead to meaningful change. It has brought the plight of Bangladeshi Hindus to the forefront of international attention. As global awareness grows, there is a renewed call for solidarity and action to ensure that religious freedom is upheld, and that all communities can live in peace and security. The recent attacks on Hindus in Bangladesh are not isolated incidents. They are part of a long and troubling history of violence and discrimination against the community. Since Bangladesh's independence in 1971, Hindus have faced systematic persecution. They have been subjected to violence, intimidation, and forced conversions. The root causes of this persecution are complex and multifaceted. They stem from a combination of religious intolerance, political opportunism, and economic disparities. Some extremist groups view Bangladesh as an Islamic state and see Hindus as second-class citizens. This discrimination has led to a climate of fear and insecurity for Hindus in Bangladesh. Many have been forced to flee their homes. Others live in constant fear of attack. The situation demands urgent attention. Trump's vocal condemnation of the violence against Hindus in Bangladesh stands in stark contrast to the response from the Biden administration. President Biden and Vice President Harris have remained largely silent on the issue. This perceived inaction has drawn criticism from some quarters, particularly from Indian American groups and human rights advocates. Critics argue that the Biden administration's silence sends a message of indifference to the plight of Bangladeshi Hindus. They contend that it emboldens perpetrators of violence and undermines efforts to promote religious freedom and human rights in the region. The Biden administration has defended its record on human rights. It maintains that it is working behind the scenes to address the situation in Bangladesh. However, for many observers, the lack of public condemnation of the violence against Hindus rings hollow. The Indian American vote, a key demographic in the balance. Trump's statement on the persecution of Hindus in Bangladesh has inevitably ignited speculation about its potential impact on the Indian American vote in the 2024 US presidential election. The Indian American community is a rapidly growing demographic in the United States, and their votes could prove decisive in key swing states. Trump's outreach to Hindu Americans is seen by some as an attempt to consolidate support among this crucial voting bloc. His strong stance on issues like religious freedom and his perceived closeness to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi could resonate with Hindu voters. However, it remains to be seen whether Trump's overtures will translate into tangible electoral gains. The Indian American community is diverse in its political leanings. Many Indian Americans prioritize issues like immigration, healthcare, and the economy over foreign policy concerns. A tale of two approaches: Trump and Biden's engagement with India. Both administrations have had their unique ways of dealing with the world's largest democracy, reflecting their broader foreign policy philosophies. Trump's statement on Bangladesh also highlights the contrasting approaches of the Trump and Biden administrations towards India. His tenure was marked by a straightforward, often transactional style, focusing on immediate gains and personal rapport. Trump cultivated a close relationship with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, often emphasizing shared values and strategic interests. This personal diplomacy was evident in the grand events like the Howdy Modi rally in Houston and the Namaste Trump event in Ahmedabad. This approach was welcomed by many Indian Americans who saw it as a sign of growing US-India ties. The visible camaraderie between Trump and Modi resonated with the diaspora, reinforcing a sense of pride and connection to both nations. The Biden administration has adopted a more nuanced approach towards India. Biden's strategy involves balancing strategic interests with a commitment to democratic values and human rights. While acknowledging the importance of the US-India partnership, Biden has also expressed concerns about human rights issues in India. This reflects a broader shift in US foreign policy under Biden, where human rights and democratic principles are given more prominence. This more critical stance has been met with mixed reactions within the Indian American community. Some appreciate the emphasis on human rights, while others worry it might strain the bilateral relationship. The different approaches of the Trump and Biden administrations towards India reflect the complexities of navigating foreign policy in a rapidly changing world. Each administration's strategy is shaped by its broader vision for America's role on the global stage. Both administrations recognize the significance of India as a global power, but they differ in their willingness to publicly address sensitive issues like human rights. This ongoing dialogue and differing perspectives underscore the dynamic nature of international relations and the importance of balancing strategic interests with core values. Modi's plea for protection, highlighting minority concerns on the world stage. The issue of minority rights in South Asia has also been raised by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself. In his recent meeting with President Biden, Modi emphasized the importance of protecting religious minorities, including Hindus, in the region. Modi's decision to highlight this issue in his discussions with Biden underscores the significance of the matter for India. It also reflects India's growing assertiveness in advocating for the rights of Hindus beyond its borders. The Biden administration has responded to Modi's concerns by reiterating its commitment to religious freedom and human rights globally. However, concrete actions to address the situation in Bangladesh remain to be seen in the near future. The 2024 election a pivotal moment for Hindu Americans? This election could mark a significant turning point for the community. As the 2024 US presidential election draws closer, the issue of Hindu rights in South Asia is likely to remain a point of contention. The political landscape is shifting, and the voices of Hindu Americans are becoming more prominent. Trump's recent statement has injected this issue into the political discourse. His comments have sparked debates and discussions across various platforms, bringing the topic to the forefront of political conversations. It has highlighted the growing influence of the Indian American community in US politics. This community, with its rich cultural heritage and increasing numbers, is making its presence felt in the political arena. Whether Trump's overtures to Hindu Americans will translate into electoral success remains to be seen. The community's response to his statements and policies will be crucial in determining the outcome. What is clear is that the Indian American community is becoming an increasingly important constituency in US politics. Their economic contributions and active participation in civic life are undeniable. Their votes could prove decisive in key swing states. States with significant Indian American populations could see their electoral outcomes influenced by this community's preferences. The 2024 election will be a test of whether US foreign policy towards South Asia will be shaped by the concerns of this growing demographic. The relationship between the US and India and the broader South Asian region could be significantly impacted. It remains to be seen whether the issue of Hindu rights will become a defining issue in the election. As the election approaches, all eyes will be on how candidates address the concerns of Hindu Americans and their stance on South Asian affairs.